Hi, I'm Lura. Let me take you on a journey that transformed my life in a seemingly perfect suburban neighborhood. My life unfolded like a complex tapestry, woven with threads of hope and despair. It was a sunny afternoon when Michael and I sat in our cozy living room, the silence broken only by the ticking of the clock. Why don't we try another doctor, Lura? There has to be someone who can help, Michael suggested, his voice filled with optimism. I sighed, feeling the weight of years of unsuccessful treatments. I don't know, Michael. It feels like we've seen every specialist in the state. He took my hand, his eyes sincere. We can't give up. We're in this together, remember? His unwavering support was my anchor, but little did we know, the storm was just beginning. The doorbell rang, and there stood Evelyn, Michael's mother, with her usual air of disapproval. Michael, we need to talk. Alone, Evelyn said, her eyes darting toward me with thinly veiled contempt. Reluctantly, Michael followed her to the kitchen. I couldn't help but overhear their conversation. Michael, you need to think about your future. This situation with Lura isn't going anywhere. Evelyn's voice was firm and cold. Mom, I love Lura. We're not giving up on having a family, Michael replied, his tone equally resolute. You need in here someone to carry on the family name. Maybe it's time to consider other options, Evelyn suggested, her words cutting through me like a knife. That night, as Michael and I lay in bed, his arm wrapped around me, he whispered, Don't listen to her, Lura. We'll prove her wrong. Days turned into weeks, and our hope was reignited when I finally got a positive pregnancy test. We were over the moon, but the joy was short-lived. During a family dinner, Evelyn's toxic words dampened our spirits. A baby with her health issues. Let's see how long this lasts. Evelyn muttered just loud enough for us to hear. I felt a lump in my throat, but Michael squeezed my hand under the table. We're going to be fine, love, he reassured me. The following months were a roller coaster of emotions. Our families gathered for the baby shower, and even Evelyn put on a facade of excitement. But her eyes, cold and calculating, never missed a beat. Make sure you take care of yourself, Lura. We wouldn't want anything to happen to the baby, Evelyn said, her voice dripping with insincerity. I will, Evelyn. Thank you, I managed to reply, masking my discomfort. As my due date approached, Michael and I prepared the nursery. The walls were painted a soothing pastel blue, and the crib stood ready for our little miracle. It's perfect, isn't it? Michael said, beaming with pride. It's everything we've ever dreamed of, I replied, my heart swelling with love and anticipation. However, our dreams were shattered when complications arose during labor. The doctors rushed me into surgery, and I awoke to the heartbreaking news that our baby boy didn't make it. Holding each other, Michael and I wept for the child we never got to meet. Yet in the midst of our grief, Evelyn's words echoed in my mind. I told you so. Despite the pain, we refused to give up. With each other's support, we faced the challenges head-on, determined to overcome the hurdles life threw at us. Our love is stronger than any obstacle, Lura. We'll get through this, Michael assured me, his voice a soothing balm to my aching soul. In our journey through despair and hope, we learned the true meaning of resilience and the strength of unconditional love. Our story was far from over, and we were ready to face whatever came our way, together. Months passed after our heartbreaking loss, and just when hope seemed a distant memory, a miracle happened. I was pregnant again. The joy Michael and I felt was indescribable, like a ray of sunlight piercing through relentless storm clouds. We embraced this new beginning after years of heartache and unsuccessful attempts. We were finally blessed with the news of my pregnancy. The joy and anticipation that filled our home were palpable. Can you believe it, Lura? We're going to be parents, Michael exclaimed, his eyes sparkling with excitement. The months flew by, each day bringing us closer to meeting our little miracle. The nursery was painted a soft pink, and we would often sit there, imagining our lives with our baby girl. Finally, the day arrived. After hours of labor, we welcomed our daughter Emma into the world. She was perfect in every way. Her tiny hands, her soft cries, everything about her filled our hearts with indescribable love. We did it, Lura. She's here, and she's perfect, Michael whispered, tears of joy in his eyes as he held Sophie for the first time. Our little family felt complete, but this happiness was like a delicate bubble, beautiful yet fragile. Emma's innocent giggles filled our home, a balm to the scars of our past pains. One evening during a family gathering, Evelyn and her daughter Grace arrived. Their smiles were strained, their congratulations hollow. Evelyn glanced at Emma and then at me, her eyes cold and unfeeling. A girl, huh? Well, let's hope she stays healthy, Evelyn remarked, her words laced with an ominous undertone. I felt a twinge of discomfort but brushed it aside, focusing on the bundle of joy in my arms. Michael squeezed my hand, a silent promise that nothing would dampen our happiness. The first 3 months of Emma's life were a whirlwind of sleepless nights and endless cuddles, but our bliss was short-lived. Emma fell ill suddenly, her condition deteriorating rapidly. Despite the doctor's best efforts, we lost her. Our world, once filled with the laughter and cries of our baby girl, was now silent, the emptiness echoing off the walls. At Emma's funeral, the air was heavy with grief. Friends and family gathered, their faces etched with sorrow. But amidst the sea of mourners, Evelyn and Grace stood out. Their demeanor was unsettling. No tears, no signs of grief, as if they were untouched by the tragedy. As I stood by Emma's tiny coffin, heartbroken, I caught a glimpse of Evelyn and Grace whispering to each other, a smirk playing on their lips. Their blatant disrespect in such a sacred moment was a shock to my already fragile state. Can you believe it? Another one gone. Maybe it's a sign, huh? Grace whispered, not realizing I was within earshot. Evelyn chuckled softly. Perhaps Michael will finally see sense and leave her. I watched, stunned, as they exchanged smiles and whispers, their laughter a jeering sound in the solemn atmosphere. It was a slap in the face, a mockery of our pain. My heart pounded in my chest, anger boiling inside me. I can't believe they're doing this, I whispered to Michael, my voice shaking. Michael looked in their direction, his expression turning from confusion to disgust. I'll talk to them, he said, but I was already moving toward them. Really, Evelyn? Smiling at a time like this? What's wrong with you? I couldn't hide the bitterness in my voice. Evelyn turned to me, her smile fading into a smirk. Oh, Lura, always so dramatic. We were just. Just what? Celebrating my daughter's death? I interrupted, my voice rising. The crowd began to take notice, their murmurs growing louder. Michael came to my side, his eyes filled with anger and disappointment. Mom, this is unacceptable. You're at a funeral, Michael said, his voice stern. Evelyn tried to defend herself. We were just talking about. About what? How happy you are that my daughter is gone. I was nearly screaming now, my grief turning into rage. Grace stepped in, her voice dripping with fake concern. Lura, you're overreacting. We're just as sad as everyone else. No, you're not, I shot back. You've never wanted me to be happy, not with Michael, not with Emma. You've always wanted me gone. The confrontation drew the attention of everyone present. Michael stood firmly by my side, his arm around me. It was clear where his loyalties lay. I can't do this anymore, Mom. Your constant negativity, your disdain for Lura, it's too much. I can't have you in our lives if this is how you're going to act, Michael said, his voice unwavering. Evelyn's face fell, a mix of shock and indignation. Michael, you can't be serious. She's manipulating you. No, Mom, I'm seeing things clearly for the first time, Michael replied, his decision final. We walked away from them, leaving them standing amidst the whispers of the crowd. That day marked the end of our relationship with Evelyn and Grace. Michael chose to stand by me, and together we faced the world, united in our grief and love. In the weeks that followed, our home became a sanctuary, a place where we could mourn in peace, away from judgmental eyes. We leaned on each other, finding comfort in our shared pain. Evelyn was always a part of my life, but I can't have her toxicity around us. Not anymore, Michael said one evening, his voice tinged with sadness. I know it's hard, but I'm so grateful you're standing by me, I replied, my heart swelling with love for the man who would become my rock. As time passed, the acute pain of loss gave way to a dull ache, a constant reminder of what we had lost. We learned to live with it, to build our lives around the gaping hole left by Emma's absence. We'll get through this, Lura, together, Michael would often say, his words a beacon of hope in our darkest moments. Our journey was far from over, but we faced it hand in hand, our love a testament to our resilience. The betrayal of family was a deep wound, but in each other we found the strength to heal and move forward. Years passed, weaving their way through our lives, bringing healing and new joys. Michael and I were blessed with 4 beautiful children, each a testament to our enduring love and the strength we found in each other. Our home, once shrouded in sorrow, now echoed with laughter and the pitter-patter of little feet. As our children grew, so did their curiosity. They often asked about their grandmother, Evelyn, but the wounds she inflicted ran deep. Her absence in their lives was a conscious choice, a decision made to protect them, to shield them from the toxicity that once threatened our happiness. Then, one day, out of the blue, we received a call. Evelyn was gravely ill, her time drawing to a close. She wanted to see us, to meet the grandchildren she had never known. The news stirred a whirlwind of emotions within me. "Why now, Michael, after all these years?" I asked, my voice a mix of confusion and bitterness. "I don't know, Laura, but she's still my mother. Maybe we should let her meet the kids, just once," Michael replied, torn between his familial ties and the pain of the past. After much deliberation, I agreed, not for Evelyn, but for our children, and perhaps for Michael, to offer him some closure. The day of the visit, I watched as Evelyn entered our home. She was frail and aged, a stark contrast to the woman who once wielded words like weapons. Our children greeted her politely, unaware of the history that hung in the air like a heavy fog. As Evelyn interacted with them, I saw a flicker of regret in her eyes. But it was too little, too late. The chasm between us was too wide, the hurt too deep. After the children had gone to bed, Evelyn turned to me, her eyes weary. "Laura, I know I've made mistakes. I'm sorry, truly sorry." Her words, the long overdue, did little to stir forgiveness in my heart. "Evelyn, I appreciate your apology, but I can't forget what you did. How you made us feel when we needed support the most." Michael sat beside me, a silent source of strength. "Mom, we've moved on. We've built a life, a happy one, without the negativity you brought into it," he added, his voice firm. Evelyn nodded, a single tear trailing down her cheek. "I understand. I just needed to say it, to try and make things right before it's too late." As she left our home that night, I felt a sense of closure. The chapter of our lives tainted by her bitterness was finally coming to an end. I had moved on, we had moved on, and in the faces of our children, I saw the future, bright and unburdened by the past. "We did the right thing, letting her see the kids," Michael said. "Yes, we did. For them, and maybe a little for us too," I replied, feeling a weight lift from my shoulders. Our story, marked by trials and tribulations, was also one of triumph and love. It was a reminder that out of the depths of despair can come the greatest joys, and that in the face of betrayal and hurt, the strength of the human spirit can prevail. Lura's journey through heartache and triumph has come to an end, but it leaves us with a thought-provoking question. If you were in Lura's place, would you have allowed Evelyn, the person who caused so much pain, to meet your children in her final days? Is compassion more important than past grievances, especially when someone is seeking forgiveness at the end of their life? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments.